I'm incredibly emotional about food. I would write these paragraphs and realise I'm crying. This is ridiculous. Like, why am I crying about fish and chips? The first time I gave some friends a Sunday roast, and they were like, you do this more than twice a year, as in Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah.
I was like, we do this every Sunday. They couldn't believe it. I gave it to my sister to say, what do you think? And she was just like red lines through everything going, no, Dawn, no. Just keep this about me and the food.
Welcome to the Good Food Podcast with me, Samuel Goldsmith. Welcome, Dawn O'Porter, to the Good Food Podcast. I'd love to know what you had for dinner last night.
Last night, I made a beef shin stew.
Oh.
I get a meat box.
Yeah.
You never quite know what's going to turn up, and you get different cuts, and beef shin came. I've never used that before. Slow cooked it in stock, and I didn't actually put veggies in it because I wanted my kids to really love it. So I did this really lovely beef stock and just a bay leaf and some garlic and onion, and slow cooked that for about 4 hours. And my plan was to put it in some pastry and make it into little pies, but my pastry was out of date. So I made a lovely garlicky rice, and we had it on the rice with some broccoli, and it was absolutely,
Very nice.
It might be, when I next make a beef stew, I think I'll go straight for the shin.
That's the one.
Yeah.
It is great slow cooked, isn't it? Because you get all that like gelatinous.
Yes.
Like what is the what is that called actually?
Is it gelatinous?
Is it the gelatin within the
I think
fibres,
it might be.
isn't it? Yeah. it
But
all
the
breaks
kids were
down.
like, it's like butter, mummy.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. It's high praise.
How old are they?
They are 11 and 9 next week.
Okay,
so
so
11
they
and
can
9.
still call you mummy.
Yes, they do still call me mummy. And I'm like, we've just got my eldest to phone because he's going to start going to school on his own.
Oh.
And I put my number in it, and I put mum because I thought if it's mummy, he'll be embarrassed in front of his friends. But I was like, I'm clinging on to mummy.
Yeah. Why is it that it's weird after a certain age to say mummy? But lots of people do.
I don't know. I still call my dad daddy.
Do you?
Yeah. But then I've never lived with him.
Okay.
It's a long story. Read Hungry Eyes. I've never lived with him. So I honestly think I never progressed to dad in that way that when you live with your parents or you see them often, that you kind of, I'm not going to call you daddy in front of my friends. I was
Yeah.
never with him when I was with my friends. And so we just never, my sister and I never stopped calling him daddy. And it makes us sound, everyone says, that sounds really posh. I'm like, well, it's not. I promise you, there's nothing posh about my dad. But yeah, I still call him daddy.
I love it.
I know. So I think I'm clinging on to mummy. And I noticed that a lot of my kids' friends call their mums mum.
Okay.
But it just hasn't quite shifted yet.
You're going to be like, no, you can't call me mum. It
Yeah,
has
just
to
not
be mummy.
answer.
You mentioned there your new book, Hungry Eyes, which is a memoir of appetite, ambition, and the odd bag of what's it's for dinner. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
So I'm incredibly emotional about food. I think I attach and have attached so many significant relationships, moments, times in my life to the food that we were eating. And I think it stems right back to when I was 6 and my mum died. And it was a sad house. But when there was food on the table, there was just this levity and everyone was kind of okay, and it caused a distraction. And so I locked on to meal times and food as my thing that made me feel happy. And I sort of have done that ever since. And so I just wanted to write about it. I feel like I'm incredibly emotional about feeding my kids. I feel like every meal that we share as a family is, building block for their memories of what they will think back to when they think back to their childhood. And I just think the power of food is so much more than just eating. And so I wanted to get it all down on paper. It was when I did Celebrity MasterChef.
You did.
And when you do MasterChef, you really have to come up with the recipes yourself, and you work hard. And I'd be writing these recipes, and everything I cooked, I had an emotional connection to. And at the end of the recipe that you submit, you have to write a little paragraph about why you were cooking it. Yeah. And I would write these paragraphs and realise I'm crying. This is ridiculous. Like, why am I crying about fish and chips? But I was like, it just reminds me of being a girl on the beach in Guernsey. And it was when I was doing MasterChef that I said to my publishers, I think I have to write a book about food. I think I have to. And they just completely understood what I meant. And then it happened.
And I guess the memoir element is great because they're getting some personal stories that people might not know about you already.
Well, that was an accident. So the original pitch was 12 pivotal moments of my life in the food that was on the table.
Okay.
So I was doing it as 12 essays. Take, for example, childhood.
Yeah.
And then maybe motherhood, these different things. And it was great. And I wrote that book. But there was this thing that was kind of this thread that was going through it, which was my relationship with needing to be noticed, my relationship with wanting to be famous, my relationship with needing to be appreciated, that was almost kind of desperate and embarrassing until I had kids, basically. And then over the course of the last 10 years, how that's just kind of gone away, and the only stage I need is the kitchen table now. But that journey that I went on to get there was kind of showing through in those essays. And so that was when my publisher said, you need to re-edit this. Worst thing to say to a writer. You need to write this like you're the protagonist of this story. Do it chronologically and let us come through this, with you. And so that edit process was horrendous. I was so upset about it. It was the week before Christmas. I had to do it all. But I'm so glad that we did it.
Feel like the book that you wanted to write now?
Yes, it's not the one I was expecting. I don't think I would ever go, I'm going to write a memoir.
Yeah.
I'm 47. I think memoirs come later. So it wasn't my intention.
Sure.
But actually, it's perfect. It's exactly what it was supposed to be. It's
interesting that you kind of craved fame to begin with, and then now it's like you're kind of enjoying being mummy.
Love being mummy, but I mean, don't get me wrong. I still strive for success.
Yeah.
But it's a very different, I was, raised on Guernsey. I had this, which if anyone doesn't know, is a tiny island just off France, but English.
Is it one of the Channel Islands?
It's a Channel Island, yeah. It's 7 miles by 4 miles. Wow. All my family were Londoners. They used to talk about London like it was this just, unbelievably exciting place. Guernsey was a wonderful place to be a kid, but it was loaded with a lot of heartache because I'd lost my mum. I just wanted to get off the island, name up in lights in the West End, because I thought that would distract me from what had happened. Sure. It was all, like so many artists, turn to art because it helps them process, or it takes them away from what happened, or for whatever reason you go in that direction in life. It very often can come from something that's happened to you.
Yeah, you're hiding your feelings, I guess, or burying them under,
or trying to express them.
Sure,
or it's all true. And I think that's what writing ended up becoming. But so I just saw fame as, if I'm famous, I'll be happy. It was almost that simple.
But also, I think then that's what kind of we were being told.
Yeah,
I think.
It's true.
Until recently, I feel like we were being told fame comes with money, it comes with happiness.
Yeah. And so I went off to try and find it, and it was an amazing mission. I was like, I started nowhere and clawed my way onto TV, and I had a great, I did it. That Guernsey girl made it to Hollywood in the end. And it's not that it wasn't great. I mean, my career went absolutely to shit at one point, and and it all went wrong, but I was still well known. But I just realized that feeling that you think it's going to give you, I think fame can be a really wonderful thing. I've had reasonably good experience of being in the public eye. It's, apart from, financially it going like that back in the day, fame has been a nice thing. As a writer, it's a lovely thing to be recognized for my work, but it didn't do the thing that I thought it was going to do as a kid. Cooking did. And that's when I was out in Hollywood and I, found myself a movie star to marry, which was very much not the plan. No, it wasn't. But I did. I married Chris, and we would just have people over all the time. Work was fine for me, but I was writing, but I was living on the other side of the world from my career, which was here. So I felt very disconnected from it. And we started to throw parties, and I'd started to cook. And I would get that same feeling from doing a table of food that I used to get when I was, at the local leisure centre in Guernsey singing songs from the shows to 60 people. It was the same feeling. Yeah. And I was like, oh, this is much easier. And
more private, I guess. Like you can have more fun with it. You can be yourself a bit more.
Entirely yourself. And so I feel like cooking ended up being the thing that just bringing people to the table, creating the moment, family, friends. That was the thing that,
gave you joy.
Yes. Well, that was the thing that filled me up in the way that I always thought that, fame would.
When you were cooking in LA, who was the most famous person you cooked for?
Oh my God, such a terrible question. Who was the most famous?
Apart from your husband.
I mean, I don't know. We had all sorts of people. I mean, our life is kind of a lot of comedians. So like people like Jason Segel's a really good friend of ours, and all the bridesmaids people, Kristen and Rose, and But yeah, Jason Segel is like one of our best friends, and he's my eldest's odd father. I've never met Jesus, so odd father. And I remember I think it was one of Art's birthdays, maybe it was Art's first birthday, Jason decided that he was going to wear a tuxedo to all of Art's birthday parties. And I remember it was a particularly hot day in January and everyone's sitting around boiling and Jason's just sitting there in a tuxedo because that was what he decided to do.
He's wearing a tuxedo and you're just all dressed like in your pajamas.
Well, no, I mean, I'm not really a pajamas person. If just to set the scene, I'd be in some fantastic caftan. Chris would be in a Hawaiian shirt. But yeah, quite casual apart from Jason.
I love that.
Yeah.
Wow. That must be... Is it weird because you were saying how at that point when you were cooking the food for those people, presumably you were still on the kind of... You were in the area of like, I still want to have the fame. I don't know by that point. Also, most of our friends in LA aren't famous. So so it was like most people are like Irish, English, like come over, writers, people. But I always feel like I'm bursting a bubble. But our life really wasn't very senior at all. It was more about whether because you had those feelings and then you're in a room with those people, whether that kind of makes you feel like you've achieved what you wanted to achieve, or whether it actually makes you think, oh, these people are more famous than me.
I never felt like that. Also because I'm not an actress and have no desire to be an actress. So I was never around actors thinking that ever. I'm just thinking, I hope I get another book deal, you know, and that kind of thing. I also, almost immediately that I got to Hollywood, I went there to make a show for Channel 4. I never really tried to have a career in Hollywood ever. I went there with a show to make. I made it. It didn't get recommissioned. And then I just sat and wrote. I went to a few meetings, but I was like, I don't fit into American TV at all. I was watching American TV going, these women are a different breed from me. I don't know where I fit in. So it wasn't like I was there trying. I stayed in LA because I met Chris.
Yeah.
I didn't stay in LA because I was trying to make it in Hollywood. So by the time we're having parties and I've met Chris, I'm kind of not even thinking about being famous anymore. I'm just thinking, I hope I get another book deal and I keep getting to write books and just loving being at home in my kitchen.
And being able to cook all these things.
And Instagram was so great because I could like show off the spread. So you're getting that, you know, there's a little bit of public, which I do love, but there's no pressure. Yeah. It was just a lovely thing to be able to do. What
are the differences cooking dinner out there to maybe when you're cooking at home?
I mean, for me, none. But what I will say about living in LA is that most people don't cook. Okay. There's a real takeout culture. Yeah. There's a real go out culture. Few of the school mums had chefs.
Wow.
It's here everyone cooks. Really?
Yeah.
I mean, even if you're a rubbish cook, you still would boil yourself some pasta on a Tuesday night probably and like...
Yeah, you try, or you get a ready meal, or you'll kind of prepare your own food usually.
But a lot of my mum friends just didn't cook in LA at all. I found that fascinating.
But then were they looking at you thinking, God, how weird is she cooking dinner?
I just think they couldn't believe it. And also the Sunday thing. Like, there's no Sunday culture. If it's a nice day, you might have a barbecue in America, but there's no traditional sit-down meal. Yeah. And I remember the first time I gave some friends a Sunday roast, and they were like, you do this more than twice a year, as in Thanksgiving and Christmas. So I was like, we do this every Sunday. They couldn't believe it. It's just a whole different way of doing Sundays. I am fanatical about Sundays.
Okay, so you love a Sunday roast.
Yes, it's my day. So, you know, when the weather is beaming like this, I probably wouldn't cook people a roast, but I think there has to be a sit-down meal on Sunday, ideally with lots of other people, but if it's just the four of us, then that's it. I think it's important.
On a Sunday, on a roast, what would your go-to roast be?
I love a leg of lamb. If it's just the four of us, it's probably a chicken.
Yeah.
I haven't done enough top sides of beef for the family yet. For some reason, I always forget about the beef because when we go out to pubs, we'll have beef.
Kind of, for me, that feels like the thing I have when I go out. But then also, I'm always disappointed with beef when I go out because it's usually been sort of left.
Yes.
And it's not as rare as I would want it.
No, but I ordered one this morning.
Yeah.
There's the organic butchery, which I really love. You can order online and it's all just such good quality meat. And I actually ordered one this morning because I'm going to do a topside this Sunday.
Very nice.
But yeah, I do love slow cooking meat, especially when I was, when I had young kids and or had lots of people. the nervousness of the meat not being cooked properly. You can just bypass all of that by slow cooking something. So I do also
That's so
sometimes
true.
just do a brisket.
Yeah.
Whack it in at like 7 o'clock in the morning. You can't mess it up. And everyone loves it.
I once cooked a roast for my granddad, and I had this new recipe. It was a friend's recipe, and it was 7-hour lamb. So it was delicious. Because it obviously been, and I think in French it's called like lamb with a spoon or something. Well, yes, exactly. It's called lamb with a spoon, but in French. And I put it on the table, and he was like, "Oh, I didn't realize it was going to be braised," and he didn't have any.
Granddad.
Yeah, he's dead now, but that's not why. But I just
killed him.
Yeah, I killed him after that. But loads of my family wouldn't cook for him. I was the only one because I thought, actually, I don't care if you like it or not, because it's not just about
It's weird with fussy eaters, and fussy eaters always really surprise me. Lamb is a funny one in America. A lot of people won't eat lamb in America, and I didn't know that when I was doing my Sunday spreads for a long time, and I was like, this is weird. I'd do like, slow cooked pulled lamb, and I was like, was it gross? I was like, Chris, is it gross? He's like, no, it's nice. And then I discovered everyone was being very polite and just won't eat lamb, which I completely respect.
Because they like sheep?
I think it's because it's a young... I think there's just something in the psychology of that is difficult. Wow. I find the thing with meat, I'm always like... I respect people who don't eat meat. I'm a real meat snob. So if I eat meat, it's, it has to be traceable.
Sure, that's so you're less meat, but good meat.
That's where I'm at with it, which I know isn't enough for a lot of people, but that's where I'm at with it. I was almost kind of basically vegan for ages a couple of years ago, not even on purpose, just sort of was doing it and loved it. And then my eldest kid, when he was 9, decided to be vegetarian for a year. Just decided to be vegetarian for a year, wouldn't even eat Haribo. And so I did it kind of with him. Yeah. Very happy to eat lots less meat, but now he's eating meat again. It's quite hard to not do meat when you've got a young family.
Yeah.
But I do think that, the future, I can totally imagine myself being at least vegetarian in the future. I'm just not quite there yet.
I think it's easy most of the time.
Yeah.
But sometimes you do just want that, I don't know, the chicken, roast chicken for me, I think it would be.
Well, I think the problem that we have got culturally is that we just don't respect it. And so it's something that we think we should have with every meal, and the quality of it doesn't really matter. Yeah. Where it came from doesn't really matter. I think where it came from really matters, and I think it should be a treat. I think it should be something that you get really excited about and that should be really respected.
And I think if we understood meat more, then things like you were saying about the shin or those cuts, which are usually cheaper because people don't use them, they would enjoy them more because they'd know how to cook them.
Yes.
I think part of the problem is cost, and I also think part of the problem is time. I think with a lot of families, they're having to make, they're going to have to budget. And so if beef mince goes up from being £2 a pack to £5 or £6 a pack, just for the general, like the normal standard, they're going to go with that rather than spend that little bit more on the good stuff.
Yeah.
But I think, and also those the cuts that take 4 hours, people just don't want to spend the time.
No, I know.
It's really tricky. But
I tried to push slow cooking, those cuts on people, even the people that don't cook, because every level of it, budget-wise, using up the whole animal, it's just so many reasons to do it, and just say to people, get it in at 9 o'clock in the morning, don't think about it again for the rest of the day. Get a slow cooker. Because slow cookers are amazing.
And I think here we have a bit of an argument sometimes in the kitchen, because when I write a slow cooker recipe, I'm like, I don't want to prep anything. Obviously I'll chop stuff. I'm just chucking it in the slow cooker, putting the lid on, turning it on. Whereas I think my colleagues are right that if you seal it or you fry all the veg and then you put it in and slow cook it, it's going to taste better, and it is. But I think probably for most people that are using a slow cooker, they just want to get it all in, turn it on, go to work, come home, it's done.
I do a real mixture of both. And when I cooked on those Sundays in LA, and I'd be cooking for up to 30 people, and I would do, in the slow cooker I'd have a shoulder of pork, in the casserole in the oven I'd have a brisket. I never did any searing for those. I would just get it in. And it was delicious. And it is delicious as it is. Of course, there are ways to make it even more delicious, but you don't have to.
No. There's quite a lot of humble brags in here. 30 people, that you've got that many friends, that you've had...
Didn't know their
names. Because at your book, like you say, it's about different meals, different foods. Are there any things that you either found harder to write about, or you were like, actually, I just can't put that in?
Oh, I mean, there's loads of stuff that I started to write about and I'm just like, I don't know if this is interesting.
Sure.
Or, you know, my first draft, I write a lot about my family at the start.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's got stuff with their family. And I gave it to my sister to say, what do you think? And she was just like red lines through everything going, no, Dawn, no. And you realise I don't need to use this book as a way to vent things that have hurt. Mm-hmm. This isn't that story. Using food as the lens to look at my life meant that I didn't have to worry about giving people the details that they didn't need or like overly personal. And I feel like when I was writing it, I was like, just keep this about me and the food. And the first draft was very much about all of them. And it was just like, there's no need to do that to anybody. Exes, you know, family, ex-friends, people like whoever. I think there's one person that I call a real dick because it was someone that I lived with at university. He was really, she was just horrible to me. She's the only person that I really outed, I think, as being a dick.
You're like, I'm not removing this person.
No, but like the first draft was just full of emotion that didn't need to be in it. And that's the problem with if I'd have ever decided to write a memoir, because then you have to. But when you give yourself a theme for your memoir, you can do it without hurting anyone's feelings.
Yeah, because I guess it is quite tempting to kind of be like, oh, I remember that time when that person was an absolute arsehole. I'm going to out them. And then I'll just put a recipe for like knob pie or whatever.
I love the idea of a knob pie. I imagine it to be a bit like a stargazy pie.
Well, we know what's sticking out of that then. I was thinking more like a sort of, you know, like a savoury plat with the way you get the puff pastry and like a sausage roll shape.
Yeah.
But you could have, actually when I was teaching, I was teaching them to make bread, and I didn't see that the kid, they'd already shaped the bread and put it in the oven, and they made it in the shape of a penis, but they stuffed it with cheese.
Brilliant.
So when it came out of the oven, at the top, this cheese had just
that would make my
squirted
kids
out.
so happy. That's all they want is a big knob loaf.
Well, I don't know. They want this 4-hour shin of beef now.
With shin of beef on the side.
And garlic rice.
Yeah.
What else am I going to ask you?
I would say on that as well, that I'm sure there'll be people in my life that read the book and go, you never mentioned that. You never mentioned that. Or you didn't, like, it's really hard to cull parts of your life. There are obviously, like, the book is that big. If you can't write all your stories, and the difficult part is choosing what goes in it. And it came out, and I was listening to the audiobook because I read the audiobook and I wanted to hear how it sounded. And I was like, oh, I should have told that story. I should have told that story. It's like, you understand why people would want to do like volumes over the course of their life.
Got time.
Maybe.
I would be the person that was cross that you hadn't written about.
Yes.
That would be me.
I am sure there'll be a few people that was like, wow, you just didn't
Why
mention
didn't you even mention me?
Yeah.
Why is it not?
Yeah.
That I'd be like, I've met Dawn twice now, so I think the next book will be dedicated to me.
Yeah, it
and
will.
then when it's not, I'd be like, well, bitch.
Yeah. That really
She clearly didn't like me as much as she pretended. And with Celebrity MasterChef, you made it all the way to the top 3, right?
I did. Not quite to the end.
Well,
I got to the end.
What do they say about like hits that don't get to number 1 but get to number 2? They're the best, right?
One Direction didn't win.
Yeah, exactly. And look at them now.
Yeah, I know. No, I was absolutely crushed. I'm not going to lie. I just think in any situation, you know, when I watch my kids play football on a Friday night or do a running race and they don't win, they're always so upset, and I'm like, get over it, it's fine. And then I did MasterChef and I was like, oh, I'm never going to get over it. I think when you have, that was 3 months of my life, you know, it's a spread out thing. I gave it everything I had, and along the process of doing MasterChef, I realised how passionate I was about food and how much I wanted to cook, and I saw it as an opportunity to do things like write a book about food and, you know, hopefully to cook more. And it's not that I thought I was going to win. You kind of hope you will, but I knew that the competition was really strong. You just hope that you do. And so when you don't, it's just really sad because it would just be so nice to.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it. I was delighted for Ginger. Ginger's work ethic was like nothing I've ever seen before. That was an honour to watch. Someone doing MasterChef in drag, I always just really wanted the viewers to understand what that means. Getting up at 3:00 in the morning.
Of course, to get ready.
Get ready, the heat in the kitchen, the energy of being... She wasn't in character, but but just the energy of that performance of it all. It was Ginger and I who were like all weekend texting each other. That didn't work. I'm starting again. I'm going back to the shops, more ingredients. Like, you can't argue with that win. It was so deserved. That doesn't mean it didn't absolutely crush me. But I said afterwards, I remember saying to Chris when I got home, I've genuinely never felt so crushed and so happy for someone else at the same time. Like, it was such a like a mixed emotion. We actually got a car back to London together that night, me and Ginge, from Birmingham. So it was like a long way. Don't remember half of it. We drank a lot. Well, I drank a lot anyway. I was really soothing myself. But I was so aware that I had to be graceful, but I just got home and cried and cried and cried. But, it's okay. It's like, it should have felt like that. It meant a lot to me to be on that show. And I think if I'd have walked away not caring that I didn't win, that would have been weird.
Yeah, although I think a lot of people probably go in it for different reasons, right? So actually
maybe.
The fact you were going in to want to do well because you love cooking is actually, I think, respectable.
Yeah, it was good. But I knew towards the end that I was going to do this book. And so I just said to myself, just channel it all into the book.
Yeah.
And it's not over. I can still cook again tomorrow.
Yeah, it's not like your cooking journey's over.
Exactly.
Because when you were in Guernsey, what was food like growing up? Because obviously you had that huge life change. Did food change? You mentioned that it was there were key moments and they kind of made you kind of, I guess, heal.
Yeah. Well, so when my mum died, I lived with my grandparents. They were very basic people in the kitchen. It was very 80s nosh, ham, egg and chips, Finder's crispy pancakes, like nothing. It was great. I remember loving it, but it was very, very kind of standard family 80s food. Yeah. And then when my sister and when I was 10 and Jane was 12, my grandparents were just really old. It just wasn't working anymore. So we went to live with our aunt and uncle Jane and Tony. And my auntie Jane is just the most amazing cook. And she, every night, would cook these. It just wasn't unusual for me to walk into the kitchen and Tony would be shucking oysters.
Wow.
And it was such a cultural shift.
So were they more inspired by the French sort of influence?
Very. And they travelled a lot. They were very worldly. And she would, a normal dinner would be grilled skate, huge skate under the grill with capers and butter, and everything was just incredible. And my auntie cooked so passionately. I don't remember ever her getting out of her chair and being like, oh, I have to cook dinner. She went in the kitchen generally about 6:45, depending on what she was cooking. And then she'd listen to the Archers, which is like 7:10.
Yeah.
Listen to the Archers, and around 7:35 she'd ring a cowbell that would call us for dinner.
Wow.
And the kitchen is quite away from the dining room. You have to kind of walk through a sitting room. We'd all, lay the table, take it all through, sit and have a sit-down meal together with cloth napkins and salad bowls, a water glass, a wine glass. Not for us, obviously, we were quite young, but just, formal in a country kitchen
like a sit-down
way.
Family dinner,
Not in a grand way at all. There's nothing grand about it, but it was just so, mealtimes were just given this respect. It was something that you did. And, I paint a very pretty picture in the book, of course, but Jane and I were bereaved teenage girls. It wasn't always a pleasant experience. We would have just sat there silent. We would have cried. We would have been dramatic. It wasn't always heaven for everybody. But every single day we would congregate for this meal. And it's what I think is why I'm okay. Because we'd lived with 3 sets of people by the time I was 10. And something about this ritual of mealtime, the loving way that it was given to us with no resentment, no chore, eventually went in, and it's like, and so I really try and do that for my kids. Aren't traumatized. They've never experienced trauma. I mean, they literally stub their toe and think the world's falling apart, but I am still very, very enthusiastic, wrong word. I'm still very ritualistic about dinner. I want it, and I want the Sunday meal together and all these things, because the fact that you invite people to your table, even if it's just your kids, is an act of love that they will respond to.
And it sounds like you need it as well.
Yeah.
That's your kind of your way of your coping mechanism.
It really is. I feel I'm sure it drives everybody in my family nuts sometimes that I'm so insistent about it. We don't have a sit-down family meal together every night at all. Like, you know, we're all busy. But I do try and bring us to the table together. And I try to make the table the place where I sit and chat to the kids, where their memories are. Because I think when you've left home and you're a grown-up and you think of home, it's nice to have a part of the house that your brain goes to. And I love the idea of that being the table.
And I think people get quite nostalgic about it as well. I think like my partner, when he, I think his parents were getting rid of the family table, and it was like quite a thing, because he was like, well, that's where we had our dinner all the time. It's quite an emotional thing to go through almost.
I'd find that really hard, the dining table. Like when the dreaded day comes when my parents go, like, yeah, that dining table holds a lot of stories.
Yeah. Because you obviously you had the trauma when you were younger, and then later on in life, your best friend passed away. Did that then become something that you kind of stuck to rigidly? Like, right, would it, like when something like that happens, you're like, right, we need to have dinner around the table?
Well, I don't know. I mean, the weird thing, so it's when I think you're referring to Caroline Flack, and I mean, just after she died, the pandemic kicked in. So like food took on this whole other thing. It was, but again, when I think of Caroline, I think of us at dinner tables, eating burgers and drinking red wine. And we did loads of other things. But for some reason, when I think of her, that's where I go. And,
I guess because they're your happiest moments often.
Yeah.
You like that moment where people get round, whether it's drinking, whether it's eating.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. My brain will do it. I lost another friend a couple of years ago and another friend a couple of years ago. But for all of them, my friend Kristen, who died 2 years ago, why is it that when I think of her, I did so many things with her. I think of us standing on the street sharing a packet of sushi. Why is that the memory that always comes to my head? It's such a... I've just always done it.
Yeah.
I've just always associated people with food.
Or the moments around
the moments,
food.
Yeah.
Wow. I guess it's always, usually they are kind of like the fun moments. I've got friends where I connect them with like cheesy chips outside a nightclub at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
It's that, because they're the moments that kind of were fun and you were happy. And
I guess if you're a foodie, which you are as well, like I love food so much, it will always be the best part of my day, no matter what has happened.
Yeah.
Some people just aren't.
No, absolutely.
Some people just aren't. And I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know what they're talking about. It's like, I did a podcast a while ago about clothes as well, and it's a similar thing. And I did a podcast where I was asking people why they wear what they wear. And people would say to me, I don't care about clothes. And I was like, you wear them every day. Whether you get 3 for a tenner from a catalogue or whatever it is, you've made a choice. And it says so much about your personality. And it was always the people who said they didn't care about clothes who give the best interview about why they wear what they wear. And it's a similar thing with food. When people say to me, I don't care about food, I'm like, let's just sit down and just break that down, because you do.
Yeah.
You can't not care about it might not excite you, but I feel almost like, I hope there's people that read Hungry Eyes who think they don't care about food, who go, well, what if I did like cook a meal for some friends and just invited them all over? Or what if I did like make an effort on Tuesday nights to do a home cooked meal for my family? Wait until you see what it brings to your life and then tell me you don't care about food, because it's so much more than just the eating.
Yeah. I think that's it. I think often, if I think about a really good meal that I've had, there will be moments when I'll think, wow, that food was just incredible. And I won't think about the setting necessarily. But I can only think of 1 or 2 occasions where that's the case. Whereas most of the meals I've had where I remember them are because I had a great time.
Yeah.
That's why you think about the food, I think. Probably like the sushi on the street, it was because you were having fun, not because the sushi was like the best sushi you've ever had in your life.
Terrible.
Yeah, exactly.
As it so often is out of box.
Yeah. And I think it's like the same thing about clothes. I think it's not that people don't care, it's that maybe they don't have lots of positive memories about.
Yeah, maybe. It. And so, but you can create them. Like anybody can create great memories around meals. I think there's a real nervousness. Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. It's, that's not, but anyone can. Yeah. I've got some recipes in the book that are so easy for hosting. You know, I've mentioned it already, but like a beef brisket. You can't mess it up and you can feed 10 people. Yeah,
it's just finding a way that you feel confident and you can afford it and you've got the time. And but I think a lot of it with cooking is confidence. I think probably with clothes as well, actually. Not that this is a podcast about fashion,
But it could be.
but I feel like people don't feel comfortable in what they're wearing, so they don't feel confident about wearing it, and so they, like, I've bought things before, probably from like TK Maxx, where I'm like, oh my god, this looks so cool, and then I've got home and I'm like, there is no way I'm wearing that. I know.
Have you seen the? I love the people on Instagram where they go, "We're going on a date," so they go to TK Maxx and they run their hand on the rail, and their partner says stop.
Yes.
And they have to wear whatever.
I saw it for the first time last night. Weirdly,
good.
That's so weird you mentioned it. Yeah, and they just then they end up wearing some like weird. But it also, the one I saw yesterday, when they were picking out the individual items, I was like, that looks awful. And then she put it on. I was like, oh, that's quite cool.
Good.
Yeah,
It'd be quite a fun thing to do with food as well.
Yeah,
like,
just go stop.
Yeah.
Stop. That's more dangerous in a sense, though, I suppose, or not dangerous, but like you could end up with like fish, chocolate, custard.
But my favourite thing on MasterChef, my favourite moment, it's one of the first things you do, is the invention where you lift up the cloche and you have to create something from an ingredient. I love doing that kind of thing. I'm just holding my hand.
Just keep going. Yeah, just keep your hand there. I'll get you a cloche.
I'm just going to leave it there. I just loved it. I got lemons, had a panic attack. It was I just didn't know what to do and ended up making this kind of lovely pie. But after that, I find myself doing it in the supermarket where I'll just be like, just get that random thing, go home and invent something. I love it.
But that's because do you normally cook with a recipe then?
No, never.
Oh, okay.
And the thing I'm trying to do, but I've sort of exhausted my own personal repertoire at the moment. I now need to go back to the books.
Sure.
So I'm actually, and I've got loads of books and I love them and I read them all the time, but I rarely actually do the recipes.
Okay, interesting.
So I have now, I've got myself to a point where I need a refresh.
Yeah.
I'm kind of churning out a lot of the same stuff at home.
That's normal, I
It
think,
is,
as well,
but I'm also like the beef shin thing that I did last night. I didn't follow a recipe. It was great. I know what to do. I know how to make a stew, but I feel like I need some new ideas. I got a really nice, I'm sorry, I don't remember the chef, but a really nice 1 pound Vietnamese cookbook the other day.
Oh yeah.
And
I think that's Twee.
Yes, yeah. And so I need to do a couple of recipes from books like that, just to kind of freshen up a bit. And also the kids are so much more adventurous now.
Which is great.
Can get a bit spicy and so I'm looking for a refresh.
Personal question. Do you have aircon?
I don't.
Because I'm just thinking you're cooking a stew in 30 odd degree heat.
It's quite ventilated. I have a fan.
Okay.
I had a fan on me. I have an Aga, which I turned off last week because I knew this heat snap was coming. I was going to turn it off before the last one, but then I knew there was cold snap coming. So I was like, Chris is like, turn it off. We're all dying. And I was like, no, I'm not ready.
One more week.
Yeah. So I have like this kind of, I get so upset. And my youngest Valentine loves cooking. He's obsessed with it. And he makes gorgeous things for himself. And I told him, I said, Val, I have to turn off the Aga. And he hugged it. He like got down. And I was like, we have to do this every summer. We have to turn off the Aga. And he was like, okay. And then I've got a little induction hob, which I look at it and like, you're so boring. You mean nothing to me.
Do you know what's interesting is it's taken an hour for you to tell me you've got an Aga. And normally people tell you within the first couple of minutes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's what my old boss used to say. And because we worked, when I chef with him, when there was an Aga. And people would come into the kitchen and within 2 minutes, they'll have told you that they've got one.
Oh, I love it. See, I wanted one. I've never bought one. They're so expensive. But I wanted one. I have fond memories of friends of my dad's up in Scotland having one when we were kids. All the pets kind of hovering around it. Something always bubbling away. And just by total chance, the house that we bought in London it's a small one. So it's just like the 2 doors.
Okay, yeah.
And it had it. And I walked in and I was like, oh my God, there's an Aga. I was so...
You're like, sold?
Well, kind of. I was like, I just love it. It's navy blue, though. I don't love the colour of it.
Okay. Can you get them repainted?
You can, but it's a bit of an ordeal and it's quite expensive.
Okay.
Maybe one day, but I
do it yourself.
do it myself. I think it's like special paint. I don't know if I'm that woman.
No, fair enough.
I don't know if I'm her. But it's great. I love it. And so you get so used to an Aga because it cooks things in such a specific way and everything is brilliant. I don't have a microwave.
No, I
don't need a microwave because you just got the
You can
Aga.
reheat in there. Like a slow reheat, not a quick.
Yeah. But so I'm quite challenged at the moment. So Chris said he was going to get a barbecue and he got an old like charcoal one.
Oh.
I don't know how to use that.
You're a movie star.
I know.
Why haven't you got us the
have
best one?
Like one of the all around. Sorry, Chris. It's really. He did it. He got it going, and we had the most amazing barbecue. And then he was going away, and I said, "Can you teach me how to use it?" And like 5 minutes into the lesson, I'm like, "I'm sorry, just never going to use it."
You know what you need? I've seen this barbecue. It's a Kamado Joe. the red like ceramic
Yeah.
thing, but it's electric. So you plug it in, but you still put coals in, but the electric element starts the coals. So and you can set the temperature.
Very interesting.
That's what you need.
Yeah, I need one of those.
Yeah.
I do like the like eggy looking ones,
Yeah.
and they do look good.
And this is red, so I think that's quite a nice colour.
In LA in pure California style, I had a full outdoor kitchen.
I bet you did.
Oh my God, like a massive grill.
I kind of can't
pizza
imagine
oven.
it.
And I used it all the time.
Yeah.
Because the weather is like it is here at the moment, which is a
Sure.
very hot
Yeah,
day here. But it was
35.
like that all the time. And so when I was cooking for lots of people, that's why it was easy. I'd have something on there, I'd have something in the oven and something on the stove. And suddenly there's like 3 massive, main courses coming out. It was amazing.
I'm not jealous. I'm just going to move on.
I'm jealous of my whole life.
Oh, yeah. I've gone over by a mile. So I've got one more question for you before we move on, I think, which I feel like we should mention that you've now joined Classic FM. And you've got your own show.
I love it so much. 12 to 3 on Saturdays.
And what got you into classical music?
Well, I listen to it all the time when I write. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about it. When I'm writing, I can't have, because I know the words to every single song ever written.
Yeah.
Like that's on Smooth or Magic or Radio 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
I know them all. So if I'm writing, I'm just doing karaoke. So I can't
Okay.
have any vocals happening. And so I love Classic FM. And I've listened to it for years. I went for a test for Smooth Radio, which is a global radio station. And as I was walking through to the Smooth studio, I said, "Oh, Classic's here. Of course it is." I didn't realise that was a global station. I listened to it all day, every day. And they were like, "Well, would you consider doing a little, test for Classic?" And I was like, "Yeah, well, that's silly. I don't know anything about classical music." I did the test and ended up getting like the Saturday 12 till 3
Wow.
job. And it's really nice because they don't need me to know about it. I'm learning about it and I know so much more than I did. But
Yeah.
I think what I love to say to people is, people say, "Oh, don't listen to classic because I don't know about it." It's like, you don't need to know who wrote the tunes. You just need to let the music do its thing.
Yeah.
When it's on in the kitchen and you're cooking, it is heaven.
Certain tracks really like have that.
And also,
as
yes,
well,
and also,
don't
but if people don't listen to Classic FM because they think they don't know the music, you will know 60% of the music, and you'll be amazed how much of it you recognise. You don't need to know who wrote it. You'll be amazed how much of it you recognise as film scores, all sorts of things on there. Just, instrumental versions of, really well-known songs that you would have known. And it's completely, it's done something to my soul listening to classical music at home and at work, because I don't think about it. Creatively, it really lets me think of things. If I've got a very chatty radio host and pop songs, my brain's not doing anything except that.
Interesting.
And when it's classical music, I am creating.
It allows you to carry
Yes,
on. Yeah.
I love it.
Because I struggle, I do listen to classical music at certain times, but for me, like if I'm cleaning or something, I'll want pop songs on so I can sing along whilst I'm doing that.
Yeah.
But if you're cooking or you're doing something where you kind of need to zone out, it's
Like, I wouldn't listen to classical music and I don't listen to it in the car, for example,
Sure.
because if I'm driving.
you want to be alive.
Yeah, and I have a game that I play with the kids. I usually listen to Smooth in the car, and I say, we were driving to Somerset a few weeks ago, and I said, from leaving London to by the time we get to Somerset, I will know the lyrics to every single song that comes on this radio station. They're like, "No, mummy." Every single song I knew. And I was like, I don't know how this happened. I was just a funny thing about a song. My kid not very long ago just came in the room and started singing Surprise, Surprise, Celebrity.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, "What are you singing? Where did you even hear that?" And he said, "Mummy, you sing it all the time." I was like, "What? I'm cooler than that."
You love Scylla?
love
Hey,
Scylla.
Scylla's got some great
Yeah,
tracks.
she has. Surprise.
Oh, I went to my first ever opera.
Oh, what
which is
did you
classical
think?
music,
Yeah.
isn't it? Well, it's my second ever, but the first one I left at half time because it was so boring.
It can be awful.
Yeah, but this was at Opera Holland Park, and they do this thing now where you can have a 3-course meal whilst you have it.
what
So you
makes
have
it good.
first, and it's really good food. 2 had like starter main, then you go and watch the first act, come back for your pudding, watch the second act. And the only thing I did that thing you were saying, about you sort of zone out a bit and let it wash over you, and you kind of feel the music. Because I was told that I should do that before, and but then I got a bit sleepy because I'd just eaten, obviously, and then I'd had this little fleecy thing on because it was that cold dip, and I just let it wash over me, and I was mindful that I might have gone, but I did.
But I think
enjoy
that's
it.
okay.
Do you?
Yeah.
At an opera,
Well, I've only been to the opera once. It was about 20 years ago, and I did not enjoy it.
I think you should go.
And
again.
I was talking to my colleagues at Classic FM. And I was saying, tell me what to go and see, because I know it shouldn't have felt that bad. And they say some opera is just really depressing. It's in another language. It's really hard to follow, and it's not fun. It's okay. But if you go to like La Boheme, or you go to something, and so they're going to help me, with
Choose
what to go to,
one.
because it shouldn't have been as negative as it was. I was like, I'm sorry, I don't understand. But again, if I go to a big classical concert, I'd be like, oh God, where was I?
Yeah.
That's what the music just did to me. How
trance.
wonderful. When does that happen? That if that's what it does, it's okay.
Yeah.
You don't, and I think the reason why people don't listen to Classic FM, or they think it's not for them, is because they think they intellectualize it too much and think if you're not listening to every note. And I don't think it's like that. I think if music has allowed you to completely zone out, I think it's done a really wonderful thing. So I support you sleeping at the opera.
You're like the Jamie Oliver of classical music here. Making it accessible for everyone.
That's the goal. That's the goal.
Right, we're going to move on to our next section, which is favourite dish. Do you have a favourite dish of all time? And you can't say no, actually. So
I have so many. I don't know what to say. I'm panicking. It was Sunday roast. I just loved Sunday roast so much. It is the most superior plate of food. I think ultimately I love buffet, and it's like it's a version of that, because all the different flavours on the plate.
Like a Toby Carvery.
Yes, exactly. I love cooking it. I love every element of the Sunday roast.
And if you had to choose one meat,
do you know what? I'm gonna just go. I'm gonna say Christmas lunch.
Okay,
it's my favourite meal.
With turkey,
cranberry, very traditional.
Yeah.
That's my favourite.
And is there any like little twist you have for a roast dinner?
Any little twist for a roast dinner?
Is there anything wacky you do with any of the?
I don't think there
sides?
is. No, I'm quite traditional about it. Love collie cheese, maybe a bit of nutmeg on top.
Nice.
Love a cabbage.
How do you do your roasties?
Oh, I mean, I try different things a lot of the time, but the best ones are always the most simple. To boil them until, they're fork tender.
Yeah.
Let them cool. Smash them up a bit, or just sometimes I just go in with a fork. Get the oil nice and hot with some garlic, rosemary, lots of salt.
Nice.
Turn them halfway through. Quite simple, but they're always the best ones.
Yeah, I think.
I was always making them quite small, but I've just started making them bigger again.
Oh, okay.
And they are really lovely.
Sometimes if you make them too small, that I do like the smaller ones, there's kind of like nothing inside.
Yes, but it's not a proper roast potato. And I was like, this isn't actually, it's too small. It's something else.
Feels like a chip.
Yes,
almost,
it's just moved into something else. So I've been started to make them really big again, but the timing of the big ones is so important, because if you overcook them and they just lose their thing inside. But I love them, and I sometimes very sometimes. That's not good. A few little sesame seeds in the oil, and it just gives them this amazing crunch.
A little crunch.
Yeah, it's lovely.
I like to freeze mine once cooked, and then they're always there, ready.
Lovely, that's great.
But I'd say to people, test it first, because if you don't like it, you've kind of ruined your roast in it. But I've never had them not work.
Yeah, that's great. Also a little TikToky thing that I saw. There's so many roast potato gimmicks, and everyone's got their own way, but I do think putting a little bit of baking powder in the water. Is it baking powder or soda?
Is it bicarb?
Yes,
bicarbonate soda,
sorry. Yeah. In the water, it does make them fluffy. So
I've never tried that.
Yeah, it definitely does do something. So, but this just straight up simple roast potatoes.
Do you have a favourite element of
the
a roast
roast
dinner? Is there one thing you'd like leave till the end because you like want or eat first?
I mean, to be honest, it's the gravy that pulls the whole thing together.
Okay.
I think I like the gravy is so crucial, and I think my favourite gravy is chicken gravy.
Okay.
I just love it, and I love making the Christmas gravy. Jamie Oliver told me. You can roast up the chicken wings a few days before, and I just think that gravy is absolutely phenomenal.
We've got one of those on the Good Food app as well.
So good.
Right, next section, culinary confessions. What is the one dish you make better than anyone else?
Christmas dinner. I think I do a really good one. I think I do a really good Christmas dinner. There's a lot of sides. There's a lot going on. And so I'll claim that.
Fabulous. What is your biggest cooking disaster?
Oh my God, another Christmas dinner. I went to my in-laws for Christmas, and I said I'd do the turkey. I don't know why. I just said I'll do the turkey, and I burnt it to a crisp. It was black. It was just so destroyed.
How?
I did a nigella recipe where you brine it for a few days, which is great.
In the bin, isn't it?
And then she's got like a What's you call it? Like a based? No.
A base recipe for
like a glaze.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think I must have put the glaze on too early and it burnt.
Because it's a lot of maple syrup, I think,
so,
isn't it?
yeah. I think that is, retrospectively, I think that's what I did. I just put it on at the start of the roasting. And so it just burnt. It was horrendous.
And you can't get rid of that flavour either, that burnt flavour.
It's terrible.
Have you ever served something ready-made and pretended you made it yourself?
Ooh. I think I did that with cookies, like when I can't bake.
Okay,
I'm trying so hard.
interesting.
That's like my mission at the moment, to
Yeah.
get better at baking. I'm really trying because my kids love it so much. But when they were at school in America and we had to make cookies, I bought the cookies.
Okay. If your personality were a flavour of ice cream, what would it be and why?
A lemon sorbet.
Ooh. Bit zesty.
Yeah, bit zesty.
Bit sharp.
Yeah, not too heavy.
You're opening a themed restaurant based on your life. What's it called and what's your signature dish?
Chips with, I think it would be a potato-based restaurant.
Okay.
Maybe different kinds of potatoes with incredible toppings.
Nice.
A lunch spot.
You could call it Dorno Potato. Oh my God. Or something like that. Or actually your Instagram name is
Hot Patooties, but that's from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. But I could call it Hot Potatoes.
Hot Potatoes.
Yeah. At Hot Potatoes.
At Hot Potatoes. That's it, yeah.
Love potatoes.
Instagram first, obviously. Yeah. What's the one misconception people have about you that you'd like to change? It's not really a kind of culinary confession, it's just a confession.
Hang on. The one misconception about me that I'm ditzy. Because I think in my old documentaries I was a bit ditzy.
Okay.
And I think some people are like, but I'm not actually that ditzy in real life.
She doesn't know what she's doing.
Yeah.
She's just a bit dim. Yeah. That's interesting, that one, I think, because I feel like, is it something that one does for telly because it kind of adds a bit of personality?
I think I was young and I was making documentaries about people who were very nervous of me being there, and a way to charm them was to act a bit ditzy, honestly.
Yeah.
I look back on them and I'm like, yeah, I was playing a bit of a game there, and I was a bit ditzy back then as well, but I don't think of myself as being
now you're
particularly
hosting
ditzy.
Classic FM.
Yeah.
Can't be ditzy.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch that TV show The Closer?
No.
It was with Kyra Sedgwick, and she sort of pretended to be a ditzy cop, and it was a bit like, I think it helped her win the case, or like get the suspect to confess.
I think ditziness is quite disarming. I had to do it with the Mormon polygamist episode. I remember specifically acting quite ditzy so that they thought I was cute and let me in.
What would have happened if they would have wanted to marry you or something? Had you as another wifelet?
They just didn't ask, so I'll never know.
What's your food guilty pleasure?
Chips, but I don't even feel guilty about it.
No.
But
chips as in crisps, or chips as in what we call chips?
Well, chips, crisps, any form of fried potato. And my favourite dip is just garlic mayonnaise. I love it so much. Fried potato. But yeah, like I said, I don't feel that guilty about it. I think of all the things, it's not bad for me.
No,
it's like, if I ate lots of it, I probably wouldn't be able to get my jeans on. But I don't feel like it's bad for me. I have no interest in sweets and things like that. So I really indulge in fried potato.
And what's it? Based on the name of your book?
I love what's it. So I don't eat them that often anymore. But I did when I was a teenager. But now I eat them when I travel, weirdly. It's the first thing I'll get from WH Smith at the airport. Get a big bag of what's it's for a plane. But if I'm at home, I love kettle chips and like good big crunchy,
nice,
solid, really proper potato crisps.
Very nice. Right, it's time for quick fire questions now. I'm going to start the timer.
Yeah.
Then we'll ask you the question. I will ask you the questions. You just answer them as quickly as you can.
Yeah.
And then, why am I making this so difficult? On the final question, I will say final question, and then you stop the timer when you're done. Best kitchen tip you've ever been given?
Don't stir rapidly when you're trying to thicken a sauce.
If you could only eat one cuisine for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Chips.
That's not a cuisine.
French.
What ingredient is the biggest waste of money?
What ingredient is the biggest waste of money? Pre-made pasta sauce.
Worst thing you've ever eaten?
A sea urchin.
Your signature can't be bothered meal?
Mac and cheese.
Favourite midnight snack?
Toast.
What food should have its own national holiday?
Chips.
What's your go-to hangover food?
Chips.
What food did you hate as a kid but now love?
I remember ever hating food.
If you could invent a new crisp flavour, what would it be?
Sunday roast.
Name a fictional character you'd love to have dinner with.
A fictional character I'd love to have, Santa Claus.
Final question, starter, main or dessert?
Main course. I did terribly.
1 minute, 1 second. That's not the worst we've ever had.
Okay, good. What did I found the one question really floored me.
What ingredient is the biggest waste of money?
Yeah, but I'm really happy with my answer.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
We did, that's not the worst we've had. It's probably the worst for someone your age.
Right.
You know, normally it's the older people that struggle.
Okay.
But
I really wanted to do well. I'm really disappointed. That felt like I felt when I didn't win MasterChef.
You're going to go home and cry. Yeah. But you don't know who the winner is. So you've got no one to kind of resent. Right, final question for today. And it's the term and not us as a brand, which is, what does good food mean to you?
Good food to me means bringing people together and the communal activity of eating.
Nice. Thank you. That was lovely.
Good.
And thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks for having
me. That's it now. You can finally leave. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom.
And good luck with the book.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this Good Food podcast. If you'd like to listen to more of our podcasts, search Good Food wherever you listen to your podcasts. For more recipes and inspiration, go to goodfood.com or download our app.